EGM Network.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Cottage Conversations with Mary Lou Ciambriello. I am Mary Lou Ciambriello. I'm a realtor here in Indian River County, which is on the Treasure Coast. And if you don't know where that is, it's halfway between Miami and Jacksonville. And here's the great thing about Indian River County. Not only do we have an ocean, but we have a real river running through us. Today's podcast is for you aspiring realtors. And I hope that you all, if you're thinking about becoming a realtor, you really and truly need to watch this podcast or listen to this podcast, because life as a realtor is a career where you totally make a difference. But before I introduce my fabulous guests, Sherri Sproch and Katherine Salvio, and of course my sidekick, Jennifer Arteaga, I want to talk to you, and I want to do a shout out for Lulich Attorney at Laws. They are sponsoring a really nice event this October for Little Birthday Angels. It's going to be October 16th to be exact. And this, if you've never heard of Little Birthday Angels, it is an amazing charity. They have hearts bigger than the universe, and their goal is always to give a birthday party to a homeless child. And homeless children are victims of their circumstances. They're not the cause of it, they're the victims of it. So if you have a heart and a bigger wallet, why don't you think about sponsoring an event over here? And then on top of it, if you are just an ordinary person and want to do something special, don't buy a Hallmark card. Make a small contribution, a $10 contribution to Little Birthday Angels. That money will go a long, long, long way. But let's get into the podcast today, and I want to talk to my great friends and fabulous realtors. First, we're going to introduce Sherri Sproch. I'm having trouble here. I need to have my notes in front of me, people. Okay, not to worry. Okay, I'm organized. That's one of my flaws. Anyway, Sherri Sproch is a broker associate here at Remax Crown Realty with John King, and she is also something very special. She's our cheerleader.
Very special.
A big cheerleader in our organization. There's not a person that would deny that. And then on top of that, I'm going to introduce Katherine Salvio, who is a really good friend of mine. We go by Kat. Kat was on my most viewed podcast, and that was when we talked about...
It was because of my dog.
Yeah, your dog is... I think that's why.
Coco Special, our office dog, along with Katie.
Well, we have two office dogs, and like I said, we have a really sweet Irish person at my office at the desk to meet you. But, if you would introduce yourself, Sherri, tell us something special about you that we may not know, and then we're going to go to Kat.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mary Lou, for having me, and Jennifer and Kat. I love you all. You're part of my family, my professional family, which is very dear to me.
We couldn't do it without you.
Well, thank you very much.
She's
I appreciate
the reason
that.
I'm there. She took years to get me, but she
Yes,
she
it was
never
hard
stopped.
to get you, Mary Lou, but we got you. We got you. John was very happy that day with Sherri, and you too, Kat. So I actually moved to Vero Beach when I was 11, and my aunt, God rest her soul, was a realtor here, and back in 1969. And very interesting. I grew up here, of course, went to high school, IRC college, and so I love this area. I've never left. A lot of my friends have, but I've stayed here, and I love this area tremendously.
And we love you. And we
you.
can't thank you enough for what you do for our office.
Thank you.
You are our biggest cheerleader. And I'm going to stop you now because we have limited time. And Kat is a good friend and extremely compassionate. One of the things you're going to get, when you squeeze lemonade, you get lemons. Well, when you squeeze Kat, you get compassion and love. She really is one of those people.
So
But she's also, her primary career before she changed to become a realtor was in television. So, Kat, please introduce yourself. And
My name is Katherine Salvio, and I go by the nickname Kat now. I have many different names: Kat, Kathy, Katie.
I would never call you Kathy or Katie.
Kathy was my growing up name, but I felt like I'm too
out of it.
Yeah,
Okay, you
I grew out of it. I
She's
like
Kat.
Katherine actually, but Kat's easier.
I like Katherine as well.
So anyway, yeah, I was in television for 27 and a half years.
Did you win an Emmy?
I won an Emmy
Yes.
for the '92 Olympics in Barcelona.
Yay,
I mean, there are people that
That's
I work with
awesome.
that have 27 Emmys. I only have one, so
I don't know anybody like that. You're my only Emmy knower.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So yeah, that was a nice memento for my years in NBC, and it was a great career. It was very stressful. Not unlike real estate. Sometimes, like you said, Jen, it could be stressful. But I was on the air.
It is.
Yeah.
Could
Very.
Okay. That's an understatement.
Yeah, but
everybody.
I was on the air, so when I made a mistake, it was like millions of people
Well,
saw
we're on
it.
the air now, so don't make any mistakes.
Okay.
Okay, and Jennifer, I'm not going to ask you that question, okay?
Okay.
So we're just excited because Jennifer has started to talk, okay? She has been a mute for the longest time.
It's only taken about 9 podcasts.
Yeah, well, that's, I don't know. Again,
I
it's
tell her every week I see the podcast, I watch your podcast, and every week she's more and more comfortable and confident.
And how about me?
Well, you were always out there.
Mary Lou was our star.
Yeah, but Mary Lou was always able to talk and write and express herself.
Let's get back to the subject here. So the subject really and truly is if you're on the fence about becoming a realtor, we're here to really give you the nitty gritty. We have a list of the things that you have to do to become a realtor in the state of Florida, and that'll be posted on this podcast. And if you're not watching the podcast, go to our Facebook pages because we'll all post it on our Facebook pages along with the information about Lou Litch. But if you want to become a realtor and you're on the fence about it, today this podcast is either going to push you over to the side of becoming an agent or you're going to stay where you are. Okay? And so know that this is a really amazing career. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. I came from the restaurant industry, and I'm so grateful that I came to real estate through the restaurant industry because the restaurant industry teaches you service. Service is our product. You can say whatever you want, but service is our product. And for those of us, what's your biggest pet peeve about other realtors and service? Do you have a pet peeve? I do.
I do. My biggest pet peeve is not returning phone calls.
Absolutely.
And Kat, what's your biggest pet peeve?
In the whole business or with other realtors?
With other realtors, because we're perfect here. Okay, but go ahead.
Well, I don't like to... Since I'm new to Florida real estate and my real estate career started in New York, I'm always depending on other people to know their business.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to have to educate another agent
Well,
who should be
we
doing
do that every day.
Who should be doing something for their clients, and they're asking me to
do it for them.
Yeah.
And what's your pet peeve?
I would say communication, lack of communication.
Oh my gosh.
I'm very big on communication.
Yeah.
So.
I recently had a transaction where 3 days before closing, the agent sent me a text, and I had contacted the mortgage broker. 3 days prior to closing, she sent me a text. Per the lender, the loan has been denied. Now, you and I all know, all of us here know that they knew long before that. Well, I'm a very calm person. Maybe not really, but what happens is I called her up, and my husband could not believe how angry I was. I didn't use foul language, but it was fighting to get out of the back of my mouth. I'm telling you, it was behind all those bad words behind my teeth, fighting to get out. So my pet peeve is lazy. There are so many lazy agents out there, and we're not any of those. And that's one of the reasons why I bring these people in, because I have so much faith in them. So let's talk about how does it feel to make a difference in people's lives, Jennifer? Because you do. We all do.
I love it. You know, I love to see people smile and happy and know that I did a good job and I can put my head on the pillow at night and sleep well. And
I don't sleep well at all. I'm happy for you. I'm up all night worried about why I didn't sell.
Well, I sleep well because I try to work with honesty, integrity.
You're talking about after the close.
Exactly. Exactly. I really do like to make a difference, and I hope that I'm out there doing that.
And we do. And how about you? Sherri, I'm sorry.
I have a wonderful story, a quick story. I had a veteran that I met, and he said to me, I know I can't buy a house because I don't have any credit. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that's not true. I said, you have credit. You don't realize you have credit. So I got him with a wonderful lender, and this is going back probably 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. He had never owned a home. He lived in a very modest place. Well, come to find out, we got him with this lender, and she was proficient in VA, and we made him realize that paying his electric bill, paying his phone bill,
all of that mattered.
All of his insurance, car insurance, all of those things mattered, and he did not realize that. Well, long story short, he ended up getting his first home at 68 years old, and God love him, God rest his soul. He had his house for 1 year, and he passed away. And his children have that home to this day. And when he got that house, He just cried at the table.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's
That's
about.
what it's about.
We're magic makers.
Yep.
Well, we're dreaming.
Made it happen.
Fulfill dreams. Sometimes it's a dream. And how about for you, Kat?
A favorite memory?
Your favorite memory?
Well, just recently, I feel like I had one of those agents that didn't know what he was doing, and he was calling me and asking me to do things that should have been done long before the time.
But understand, people, that the reason Kat does this stuff is because we want to get the job done for our people, for the people on our side of the transaction.
Right.
And otherwise, nothing would get done if we waited for them. But go ahead.
Right. So these people, I knew they wanted to sell their house quickly. And I saw the slowing down of the market, and I knew I had to price it accordingly.
I remember this,
getting it done fast. Because the husband had a lot of health issues, and I think they were moving because they were afraid that maybe he wouldn't be able to, or he wouldn't be able to take care of the house anymore. So they wanted to go rent, which is unusual when you have a homeowner that wants to. But this was the circumstance, and it was right across the street from my house. So I knew whoever bought the house was going to be my neighbor. So
won't you be my neighbor?
And now.
Mr. Rogers.
The buyers are so thrilled. They got a beautiful deal because the house was really worth a little bit more than that, but I wanted to sell it. I didn't want it to sit on the market for a long time.
Well, there's so much stress involved, and they were already in a stressful situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the buyers were happy, the sellers were happy, and that makes me feel so good. And they just recently, the new buyers had their family there, and they were loving the house, and just to see that.
You made two families very happy. Well, I had a very, very interesting situation about 4 or 5 years ago, and I had gotten a phone call from an agent that was looking for a house that was priced at around $200,000, and I laughed and said, never going to happen, never going to happen. Well, it just so happened I was holding an open house, and these two women came in and wanted me to list their property, and it was going to be listed at around $2 1/4. So the house was a mess. I mean, they had like 8 cats and whatever, but we actually sold the house before we actually went under contract without the buyers seeing it. 17 days later, the buyers went in to see the house, and of course they wanted to continue with the contract. Now we're doing the walkthrough, and all of us learned, the buyers, the sellers, and the other agent, that these people had been living, they were homeless. And they had been living on their friend's porch for 4 years, and they were the first people in their family to own a home. And again, I can't begin to tell you, there wasn't a dry eye at the table, not a dry eye at the closing table. And believe me, I'm not the only realtor with that story. There are so many stories like that, and that's why we're in real estate. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty and the hard work, because becoming a realtor means that you have to qualify, and we've put up the list of qualifications for Florida. But assuming you've taken the test, you've passed everything, and you're ready to go on, but you're hesitant, what would you advise a brand new agent, Sherri? What would you say to somebody that's on the fence about it? What would you tell them that they need to know that really are the hard facts?
I would say that the time and dedication is number one. My late husband always said that I was married to real estate and I had an affair with him. because
he was lucky.
That's a good one.
He was lucky.
And but that's what he always said, that real estate was number one. It has to be your passion. You have to be driven. It's not a part-time profession.
It's not a part-time profession.
That's a fallacy. A lot of new agents feel that they can do this part-time, and you cannot do this part-time.
It's 24/7.
It's 24/7, and even when we go to sleep, we wake up, like Mary Lou, like you said, 3 o'clock in the morning. You're thinking about everything that could happen.
My best thinking.
Yep, and it happens.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to commit yourself, especially when you first start. You've got to give it 190%.
Exactly.
Or don't do it at all.
You can't go in, and you also have to have funds. You have to understand. I worked at Coldwell Banker when I first became an agent down in Delray Beach, and we were on Atlantic Avenue, which is a prime location. And I will tell you that before they let you work floor, you had to have a sale or a listing It took me 7 months to do a sale.
Right.
It was very hard to break in. So for 7 months, I had no income, and I was spending money to get people to know me. And frankly, it was very interesting. So you need to have a little bit of money stashed aside, and you need to understand that when you're done, you have to invest back into your business, right? Is that not true?
I was a realtor for a whole year at Remax Crown Realty before I even saw a paycheck.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and then I got my paycheck, okay, and my husband called it cute. So it was 7 months to get a cute paycheck. So that's the other thing you have to keep in mind.
Right.
And that's another thing that they need to understand. People think that we keep all that money.
Right.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? So, Kat, what do you think? What is the advice that you would give to somebody thinking about becoming an agent?
Well, I remember when I made the transition from a New York realtor from Manhattan selling condos and co-ops to a Florida realtor. Totally different business. Totally different business.
Very definitely. Because you use an attorney up north. We use an attorney.
Not only that, but, condos don't require inspections necessarily.
Really?
Condos don't have to deal with roofs necessarily. They may want to see the reserve
But
fund.
they take longer to close.
It might
up
be
there,
our
too.
hurricanes too, though. Like it might be the fact that Florida has hurricanes, and that's why they do.
I don't know. You have to stop using that word. What did I tell you? What do we call them?
Storms.
We call them very
No
bad
H word.
storms.
No H word.
Sorry.
My goodness. Oops. Shame on you. Okay.
Off the air.
Okay. Good.
There's a lot of things that you have to deal with in Florida, that you wouldn't have to do if you're in a metropolitan.
Well, it's different county to county because I came from Palm Beach County, and I can tell you that the longest part of the transaction was to get the condo or a homeowner approval. They took everything but your firstborn when you went into an association down there. In your opinion, what makes a great realtor, Sherri? What makes a great realtor?
I would say integrity.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
moral compass has to be in the right direction because, like any other profession, that you have the people that are a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, but your moral compass has to be
straight as an arrow.
Straight as an arrow.
Exactly.
Because all you have is your name. I tell
and your name
every-
is your
and
name
is
is everything.
Your name is everything.
Your
And I
name is
tell
everything.
every new agent that your name is number one.
Exactly.
And your word is your bond. If don't
say it, do it.
That's right. Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. Okay, Kat,
You have to be a problem solver.
that's our job.
Yeah, it's really, there are so many little problems that come up through a transaction. That's why it's so good to have a transaction coordinator because you have another
I
set of
don't
eyes.
use one.
I know, but
John yells at me all the
I
time.
know, but it's nice to have
should.
another set of
I
eyes.
can't
Much
use
easier.
one.
Yeah.
I'm a control freak.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
know. We were all
Me
a
too.
little bit of
I'm
a
a
control
You can
huge
freak.
still
control freak.
control. Four
Yeah.
eyes are better than two.
Let
Yeah.
me just say something. Don't answer that. Okay.
Mary Lou and I are going to fight on today's podcast.
So
They're becoming like Howard Stern. And
I don't think so. He had a potty mouth. I don't. Okay. So let's talk about what you think is important, Jennifer, for a realtor, other than a transaction coordinator. We have a great one, by the way, and
we have a
couple of great transaction
Yeah.
Yep, we have
coordinators.
three.
I don't really do that much business that I need to have somebody look
That's
into
not
it. But
true.
go ahead.
That's not true.
I know. But go ahead.
As everything's time stamped, I just think that we really need to be on top of everything, and the communication, like I said, I use a transaction
you just need
coordinator
another
all the
set of
time.
eyes.
They all
Everything.
use a
Not only
transaction
do I use a
coordinator.
transaction coordinator, but I'll have Sherri look at my file.
Oh, everybody looks at my file.
Yeah.
Okay, I am a true dyslexic, and you can't come into my office without me showing a contract and saying, "Did I get it right?" Okay, I'm sorry. So
But
you
that's
have a
what our
transaction
office is
coordinator.
I think that's another important thing for
Our
people that
office
are,
is good for that.
Very good.
Yeah, I
We
think
all
that's
support each other.
Yeah,
We do.
and that's something that's so important when you're starting out is to have
A good mentor.
A
people that-
mentor for sure.
Well, first of all, I learned how to do open houses from you and Sherri.
Well, you dressed up when I did those bungalows. You really got into it. That's your theater background, apparently. I had these bungalows for sale in Vero Beach, and they were 1930 bungalows. And Kat was kind enough to do the open houses for me, and she dressed in 1930 garb. She tried to rent a car from the 1930s as well, but we couldn't get anything. So she really, she brings theater to it.
A little bit, but Sherri also taught me how to, have nice chilled beverages and candy
You
bags.
get a bottle of water from me. That's all you get. It might be flavored.
The worst part about it is if you have an open house and nobody shows up, I start eating the candy myself.
And that's the problem with open houses, don't you think so, Jennifer, that you don't always have great attendance?
We don't always, people don't always come in. It's hit or miss for sure. But when they do come in, they have friends and family, and so they're very productive.
Well, I think an open house is a wonderful way, especially for a brand new agent, because
Absolutely.
it's free. It's your time, and it's wonderful to have that.
I get 90% of my business out of open houses.
I don't know if I get 90. I get about 40% of my business from open houses, and about a good amount of my business from Facebook, which is amazing to me. Is there something that you did in the beginning of your career, Sherri, that made a difference that you want new agents to know about and to probably do?
Well, as I said, my profession has been strongly with open houses because
I do them every week. I'm doing
Me
one
too.
today.
When I was 11, I did open house with my aunt, and she taught me.
That's the puppy dog sale.
It was definitely the simple. She would say, she taught me when I saw a car drive up, she'd say, grab a flyer, put on a big smile, and rub your hiney for good luck. And so the people would come through the door.
That's my problem.
You're not rubbing your hiney.
My butt. Yeah.
You got to rub your hiney.
Okay.
And
Do
so
it right now.
the people would come through the door, and my aunt would say to them, how can you not buy this house from this freckle-faced little Irish girl?
Oh.
What is wrong? And so she used me as a tool.
You were the puppy dog.
I was the puppy.
Oh,
I
how
was the
cute.
puppy. So, but I feel that open houses, you can't sell a secret. You've got to get the people in the door.
Exactly.
And it's also a way to meet and greet.
Meet and greet.
Yes.
And people also, open houses are a great way to interview a realtor.
Absolutely.
Because you come in, you see them in action, and you see what they've prepared, how their listing package is. It's an amazing way to interview a realtor.
And their image. They walk in the door, if they see someone that's crisp, professional looking,
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
you can, your grammar is correct, all these things. It is an agent interview.
Well, I worked
Absolutely.
years to get rid of my New York accent.
My husband calls open houses speed dating.
Well, I love
That's
that.
great.
I think it's really kind
That's a great one.
That's a great one, really and truly. So, Kat, how do you handle disappointments? Because we are, this is a rough industry, and we do get disappointed. How do you handle it?
I'm disappointed right now because the market has slowed down a little bit.
Oh, this is a tough one.
And it's a tough market. My first year as a realtor in Florida was better than this year. Because it was 2022, and
you
we
were
were
coming
still
on
on the edge, of
just
that
ending.
pandemic.
Well,
surge in
2021 was the best year.
Yeah,
for
right.
me.
I came in after that, but I still had a little bit. It was still
There was residue. No,
Yeah.
2022 was not a bad year. For
no.
me,
So the last 2 years have been kind of rough for me. So, and especially since I'm new to the area, but now I'm starting to get involved with things that I really love, like
Well, you're working with Habitat.
Yeah.
You've done some theater. You've done some great things. And Jennifer, how do you handle disappointments? Aside from crying. Okay.
Well, the crying would have been the first.
Do you pray?
No, how do I handle disappointment? I try to look at everything as
A life lesson?
the cup running over.
Okay.
We can look for the solution. I try to help people solve their issues.
And I think that's true. And then, Sherri, how do you handle disappointments?
I believe that out of everything bad, something good comes. So I try to put a spin on it. Do I cry? Yes. I always tell the new agents, make sure you love your car because you're going to get in that car and you're going to curse, you're going to cry, you're going to eat, you're going to put your makeup on.
It's your chapel.
This is your chapel.
It's everything.
Your car is your chapel, so you better like it. And and then you get out of the car. And my husband used to say, I can tell what kind of day you had by the way you shut the car door.
Boom.
Boom. If it's a bad day or a tough day, boom. If it's a nice, easy day, it's very soft and gentle. But no, it's hard. You got to get a tough skin.
You have to have
You
a
have
tough
to have a
skin.
tough skin, which is not easy.
And
That's
Kat
not
brought
easy.
up a very good point, and that was that we're problem solvers. And I believe a good realtor solves problems, but a great realtor avoids them. Sees them coming and avoids them. So it's really kind of interesting. Jesse, are we getting close to the end here? Okay.
That's bad.
I just want to, I know it went so quickly, and I know all of you were nervous, but we don't have a large viewership. So please, people, really and truly watch this because it is
Not yet.
informative. Oh, not yet.
Not
It's
yet.
growing. That's why I love you,
growing.
Jennifer. Okay,
It is growing.
That's
It is
why you're
growing.
my favorite niece. Okay,
Oh, Auntie
But
Mary Lou.
I
She's
just
my
want-
godmother.
Yeah.
I think that, excuse me, I think that's really important for new agents. Find
someone that
veterans
Yes.
that know the business really
Right.
well, like Sherri and Mary Lou, and learn from them.
Absolutely.
And Cheryl in our office,
Right.
you know, I'm every time
they're
I
so
talk
generous
to
with
to
their
the
time and their
veterans.
ideas. Yeah, they are very. And John does a great job. And John is my number one guest. Okay, he never misses a podcast if he's invited. But John is a great teacher and mentor, and he just makes
Fantastic.
us so proud. He really does a great job, and he'll probably be here shortly. I don't know what podcast I'm going to be having him on. But for those of you that are looking for a great realtor, there's 3 of them sitting right here, and then there's me. I'm not too bad either. So I want you all to understand that if you're thinking of becoming an agent, if you have any concerns, don't be afraid to reach out to any of us because we'd be more than glad to speak with you and let you know why we love our career. And I just want to thank Jesse. He's always keeping me on schedule over here. We went through without a commercial, which is upsetting because I like to talk about me in the middle of the segment here. But this was a very important podcast, and I really did enjoy it. So thank you so much.
Mary Lou.
Thank you. I hope you had fun.
Thank
'cause
you,
I really did.
ladies.
Thank you.
I really had
I had a
good time.
blast like I always do with you,
always
Mary
do.
Lou.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Ciao for now. Have the best day ever, guys.
Adios for now.
Adios.
Adios.
Amigos.
$115 Briarcliff Circle is ready to steal your heart. Come on in. Grand vaulted ceilings, formal entry, elegant arches, French doors, and open, inviting floor plan. Welcome home. Large living and dining areas virtually staged to help you picture your best life at 115 Briarcliff. A home that feels like a warm hug, arches, soaring ceilings, and sunshine galore at 115 Briarcliff. Another view of the grand living room, featuring French doors to bedroom 3 and a peek at the charming alcove. Gather, laugh, and pass the good times. Formal dining room with a kitchen pass-through ready for your next celebration. More living room magic. Vaulted ceilings that lift the space and your spirits. A kitchen made for real life. Pantry. Loads of space and room for a table for 6. A huge eat-in kitchen with room for everyone. Yes, you even have a pantry. Sunlit dinette with space for 6. A smart flowing floor plan that makes everyday living easy and effortless. Modern living with a classic twist. French doors make bedroom 1 feel effortlessly cool. A peek at bedroom 1, virtually staged to inspire your dream space. Clean, bright, and full of possibilities. Bedroom 1, sleek and simple. The guest bath is all about easy living. Virtually staged to show its full potential. This alcove makes the perfect home office. Fresh and versatile bedroom 2. A sweet star for little adventures. Bedroom 2 virtually staged for children's dreams. Bedroom 2. A blank canvas ready for your imagination. Spacious master bath with dual sinks. And a shower built for stretching out and relaxing. Because one closet is never enough. 2 walk-in closets and a separate shoe closet waiting for you. Look under the arch. Bay window charm meets garden serenity in the master bedroom. See the dream come to life. Master bedroom virtually staged with cozy bay window seating and lush garden views. Not just a laundry room. It's the Cinderella chore room, fit for getting the job done in style. Get the full picture. Explore the 3D floor plan. It is attached to the listing. Enjoy every season from your private screen and patio. Splash, laugh, relax and repeat. Life is better at Ashbury. The Ashbury Clubhouse, where neighbors become friends. Life's better on the green. Riverview Park, where there's always something happening. Ashbury is a pet-friendly community, welcoming dogs of all sizes. Conveniently located just minutes to the river and only 15 minutes to the beach. Close to fishing, boating, and all your favorite water adventures. Thank you for taking the time to check out this wonderful home. It's even better in person. 115 Briarcliff Circle in Sebastian